Long ago, in a small village surrounded by beautiful grass and an interesting ancient forest, life was easy and lively. Every morning, the market square was filled with activity. Women with baskets of yams and plantains on their heads talked prices with buyers, fishermen proudly showed their fresh fishes, and children's laughing echoed in the background. For the villagers, the market was more than just a place to buy goods, it was also a center of communication. Here, rumor flew like wildfire, friendships were renewed, and the aromas of roasted maize and spiced meats made lips water. The market was the village's beating heart, and everyone loved the regularity it created. One day, when the villagers set up their shops and went about their daily routines, they observed something strange. A new seller showed up overnight, her stand carefully set up with colorful baskets and beautifully woven fabrics that looked like they sparkle in the sunlight. Behind the shop front stood a beautiful young woman who appeared almost strange. Her name was Adanna. Adanna's presence was magnetic. Her beauty was amazing, with skin that shined like polished brown, beautiful, and eyes that glittered like morning dew. People were drawn in not only by her attractiveness, but also by her food. Adanna's shop gave forth an enticing perfume. The delicious foods she presented were unlike anything the people had ever tried. Her soups were thick and sweet, with flavors so distinct that they felt magical. Her roasted meats were soft and properly cooked, and her pastries were so delicate that they crumbled at the slightest touch, leaving a sweet aftertaste long after the final bite. Within days, Adanna's shop had become the most popular in the market. People waited up to try her food, with some even abandoning their regular customers. Her charm and warmth enhanced her attraction. She greeted everyone with a bright smile and a voice as peaceful as that of a soothing song. But Adanna remained mysterious. Nobody knew where she came from or where she left when the market closed. She never spoke stories about herself, and while other sellers stayed to chat and share drinks after the market closed, Adanna always left early. As the weeks turned into months, the villagers' interest for Adanna was matched by curiosity, and, for some, suspicion. The elders, who had lived through many seasons and knew the stories of old, began to notice strange things about her. "She never eats her own food," an elder stated during an evening gathering. "And have you noticed she's always gone before sunset?" "It's strange," another said. "No one knows where she gets her ingredients. I've traveled much, but I've never seen spices like hers." The whispers became louder. Some assumed that Adanna was a wandering cook from another country. Others felt she was hiding a secret. Some even accused her of witchcraft, but those who loved her quickly silenced them. However, one person could not ignore the mystery: Oba, a vibrant 12-year-old boy with a thirst for knowledge. Oba was fascinated by Adanna, not just for her beauty but for the way she seemed to mix magic into her food. He regularly observed her from a distance, attempting to figure out how she cooked her meals. Regardless of how closely he observed, her methods remained unclear. "I'll follow her," Oba said to his friends one afternoon. "I'll find out where she goes." One evening, after the sun set and the market deserted, Oba hid behind a pile of crates near Adanna's shop. He watched her pack away her things, singing a beautiful and loneliness tune. As the final rays of sunlight faded, Adanna raised her baskets and began going towards the forest. Oba followed, keeping his distance. She traveled a strange road deeper into the forest, where the trees grew tall and old, their branches weaving like an old sorcerer's fingers. The atmosphere became increasingly strange as they walked further. The air became cooler, and the forest appeared unusually quiet, as if it was holding its breath. Fireflies flew about, their lights twinkling like tiny stars. When Adanna arrived at a little clearing, she came to a stop. Oba hid behind a tree and looked out carefully. What he saw caused his breath to get stuck in his throat. Adanna's appearance started to change. Her bright skin became pale and transparent, her hair turned to particles of silver gas, and her eyes began to shine softly like distant candles. Her previously solid shape changed, revealing the ghostly form of a ghost. She knelt alongside an old, moss-covered grave, her hands lightly touching the stone. Oba watched in shocked silence, his heart racing. The next morning, Oba ran to the village elders and told them all he had observed. At first, everyone laughed, considering his story as a child's stories. However, the boy's shaking voice and pale look made them rethink. That evening, a group of people led by the chief priest followed Adanna as she exited the market. They moved gently through the forest, their footsteps quiet by the soft ground. When they arrived in the area, they saw her kneeling by the grave, her ghostly form floating in the moonlight. Adanna turned to face them, her ghostly face disrupted with tears. "Why have you followed me?" she asked, her voice echoing like a distant wind. The priest moved forward, his stick in hand. "Who are you, spirit? And why are you walking among the living?" Adanna sighed, her ghostly form flickering like a candle in the wind. "I was once a woman of this village," she continued. "Long ago, I lived with you. I enjoyed cooking and bringing joy to others with my meals. However, jealousy and fear turned my neighbors against me. They accused me of witchcraft and dragged me into the forest, where I died alone, with my dreams unfulfilled." Her voice began to shake as she said, "When I saw the market growing, I wanted to be a part of it again. I used this method to share my meals and experience the joy of community, if only for a moment." The villagers listened quietly, remorse and grief flooding over them. The elderly, too, felt the consequences of their forefathers' acts. The priest went forward, his voice calm. "Adanna, you've endured so much and we've wronged you. But your soul has spread love and joy. We will honor you and make sure your story is never forgotten." He performed a ritual of purification rite, purifying the grave and praying to the ancestors. The locals promised to keep the grave spot and to remember her not as a witch, but as a talented woman who provided joy through her food. From that day onward, the town celebrated an annual feast known as the Spirit's Feast. It was a celebration of Adanna's life and passion for cooking. Her recipes were saved and passed down, becoming a treasured part of the village's history. Though her shop was never seen again, some neighbors reported hearing her sweet singing on calm nights, a subtle reminder of forgiveness, redemption, and the enduring power of love and humanity.